चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नाम्नि। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा. Today, Prabhuji is Pradam Pro is busy, so we will not have Sara Darshan. We will be having only Prabhupada Purport reading session. And this chapter is very interesting. It's an action chapter. There's a battle between Lord Varaha and Hiranyakashipu. Sorry, Hiranyaksha. So here we saw that Hiranyaksha, he goes to the abode of Varuna, where he challenges Varuna, and Varuna, he understands that he cannot do anything with him. So he humbly says that, okay, you are so great, I am old person now, I stopped fighting. But very soon you will find somebody who is going to smash your pride. And then Hiranyaksha becomes angry, at least somebody who is there to match with me in battle. So that's how he understands. And here, very soon, he is going to meet Varaha. So Maitreya continues, Maitreya Vacha Tadevam Akarnya Jaleshu Bhasitam Mahamanastad Vigananya Durmadha Hare Videtao Viditva Gatimanga Narada No Rasatalam Nirvivishesha Varani Tvam. He says that Maitreya is saying the proud and falsely glorious Daitya paid little heed to the words of Varuna. O dear Vidra, he learned from Narada the whereabouts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and hurriedly betook himself to the depths of the ocean. Prabhupada writes, materialistic wranglers, warmongers are not even afraid of fight when there is mightiest enemy, the personality of Godhead. The demons are very encouraged to learn from Varuna that there was one fighter who could actually combat him. And he was very enthusiastic to search out the Supreme Personality of God just to give him a fight. Even though it was predicted by Varuna that by fighting with Vishnu, he would become prey for dogs, jackals, and vultures. Since demonic persons are less intelligent, they dare to fight with Vishnu, who is known as Ajita, or one who has never been conquered. Here, very interesting thing is that even though they know they are defeated, they continue to do. That is the mentality. They have this mentality to fight and destroy and all these things. Even self-destruction is also a demonic mentality. They are trying to destroy themselves. This is also a demonic mentality. And we see here, and when Hiranyakashipu also, when he saw Narsingadev, he did not say, my God, Lord came, so let me surrender. He said, no, I'll fight, I'll try to kill him. When Duryodhana was shown the universal form by Krishna, Duryodhana and all this Karna, Dusyasana, Shikni, everybody saw. When they want to tie Krishna, Krishna shows them universal form. It didn't change their heart. This is demonic mental. People ask, no, if you show me Lord, I will accept. Even if these people, they are seeing not only Lord, they saw the universal form. If directly Lord is there, it may not be possible for them to, like, say, see him, accept him. He says he also looking like human being. But Krishna showed universal form. Still they said no. We are not going to surrender and accept. The Duryodhana said he is doing some mystic yogic techniques or something. We don't believe in all these things. We are going to fight. And when what happens is that is how the living entity's false ego is. It is so strong. It does not. It covers it, living entity's original identity. When Karna was asked by Krishna, "Arey, you are the elder brother of Yudhishthir. Now you go to Yudhishthir and he will do it everything for you. He will make you the king. He will serve you. Bhima will hold umbrella for you. Arjuna will kiss the floor wherever you have kept your feet." Karna said, "No, no, not possible now. I am already identifying myself as friend of Duryodhana and I have done so much. Now I cannot change." Karna says that I know you are Supreme Lord. I know I'll be defeated, but I don't want to change. Why? Because the false ego identifies so strongly with certain things. It does not want to change. So here also Hiranyaksha is identifying himself as a great warrior. And he just want to do that only. And they're telling, Array, you are fighting with Supreme Lord. He is such a great person. There's no chance that you will get defeated. He's called Ajita. Why are you taking chance? He said, no way. The demons are very encouraged to learn from Varuna. There was one who fighter who actually combat him, and he was very enthusiastic to search. Materialistic warmongers are not even afraid to fight with their mightiest enemies. The ego is so strong. They know it is not going to work, and the demonic mentality is there for living entities now also. Like Parabhavastavad bodhajate. We cannot fight with matter nature. Still, we are also trying. All these attempts to modern civilization development all is in one way is a fighting only against this material nature. We will not be able to win. We are trying to make arrangements here, so many things to make things better. But bad news is we can never make things better in this world because it is already announced. Dukhalam Shashakam. Krishna is telling that this is Mama Maya Duratteya. Not possible. This is also a little demonic mentality. And here he is also very enthusiastic to fight, but unfortunately is not understanding. It is not going to work. But one fortunate thing for Hiranyaksha is he's fighting with Supreme Lord. That's the only good thing he's having. And the next sloka says, Dadrishya tatra bijatam dhara dharma Proniyamanavanimagradamshtra. Yeah. Mushnatvamakṣān svaro cha runshriya jahasa chaho vanogocharo mriga. This is very interesting. This what Hiranyaksha sees that he saw the all powerful personality of God in his four incarnations bearing the earth upward on the ends of his tusk and robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. The demon laughed. Oh, an amphibious beast. So, if you take the 10 top, there are different levels of understanding of absolute truth. First is they say there is no absolute truth, there is some share. Then there is a doubt whether he is there or not. And then there is Nirakara, Nirguna. And then there is absolute truth is a person but no energies, Kliba. Then there is understanding of absolute truth is a person with energies, Purusha. Then there is Mithuna, there is energy and this consorts also with Lakshmi. And then the highest understanding of absolute truth is energies, but in a relationship which is like Parakiya. So there are different stages of understanding the absolute truth. Now here, when Hiranyaksha is seeing the absolute truth. This is personality of Godhead. He says he is amphibious beast. You don't accept that he is Supreme Lord. So this is atheistic mentality. So what happens is when we read Bhagavatam and go through these pastimes, our tendency of some atheism will be evaporated. The tendency, slowly, our understanding of absolute truth becomes refined, more and more clear. That is the purpose of all these 10 topics. So this is a Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He has described this, that how there are different, like for us, the absolute truth, if we is a person, we accept that we will be in so much blissful state. If the absolute truth as a person, that realization comes. Theoretically, we know that realization comes, it's such a blissful state. But Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarane, Prabhupada's mantra we say. And Prabhupada disciples, they used to hear this. Prabhupada was condemning some Mayavadas. Then Mayavadis are like this, Mayavadis are like this. Then they thought Prabhupada must have some personal enemies in India and he's always condemning them. This Mayavadis. And later on they said actually Mayavada, this impersonalism and voidism, it's a tendency in our heart only. That's why we are not able to connect to Krishna so strongly. So here, all these tendencies are there in our heart to some extent. That's why we are not strongly able to connect. But by reading these pastimes, this is one of the, he's seeing the absolute truth. This is the first pastime which Maitra is talking to Vidura. Of course, he spoke about the previous, but here the demons are appearing and fighting out the Lord, Jai Vijaya. So this is all one big pastime that is happening because the Varahadev appeared, but he just did not combat with anyone. He just appeared. Of course, before this, Brahmas was there. Brahma was also trying to understand the absolute truth, but he was in samshaya, he was doubtful. What is, whether he's there or not, what is that? And then he gets a message tapa. Then he started doing tapasya, then he understood the absolute truth. So that samshaya, the doubt will be removed by hearing Brahma's pastime. Slowly it evaporates from our heart by hearing that narration. So here, this narration where Varahadev is seen by Hiranyaksha, but he's not, he's saying, oh, amphibious beast. He's not even, no, he says it does not exist, just, it is not absolute truth. So this is the atheistic mentality. And that will be evaporated by this understand, by this hearing this pastime, and we'll understand absolute truth. No, he exists, he is a person. Slowly that realization comes, and at the end of 10th, by the time we reach 10th canto, we understand, yes, absolute truth with his concert, but that is mithuna. But beyond that, there is parakiya, which we'll understand in the 10th canto, where Krishna's pastimes with gopis. So like that. It evolves like that. So here, this is the second stage. Of course, the first one, atheism. And Prabhupada, in a previous chapter, we have discussed the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead Varaha, the boar. While Varaha, with his tusk, engaged in uplifting the submerged earth from the depths of water, this great demon, Hiranyaksha, met him and challenged him, calling him a beast. Demons cannot understand the incarnation of Lord. They think that his incarnation as a fish or boar or tortoise or big beast only. They misunderstand the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead even in his human form. Sorry. They misunderstand the body of Supreme Personality of God even in his human form. And they deride his descent. In the Chaitanya Sampradaya, there is sometimes a demonic misconception about the descent of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu's body is spiritual, but demonic persons consider the body of Supreme Personality of Godhead to be material, just like ours. Avajananti Mamudha. Persons who have no intelligence deride the transcendental form of the Lord as material. Now, here, very important point I want to say is like, why do people get attracted to movies and they get so much fan of film actors and sports players? Why celebrities are so much worshipped? A very important reason is they can generate the emotions in the heart of people, and that is actually pleasure. So for us, if we don't want to get attracted, then we should get attracted to the emotions of Bhagavad. We all need to experience emotions. Now, what happens? A person sits in a theater or watching a movie or some sports, his emotions are very much triggered. He becomes fearful sometimes. I know paying money to become fearful because emotions, the more we experience certain emotion, either fear or greed, sorry, anger or lust or all these things, there are certain emotions which increases in us. We experience certain type of pleasure. We want to this is in mode of passion. They want to have all these emotions to highest. Of course, in goodness also there are certain other emotions, but these emotions are so heavily experienced. So say somebody is watching a movie and there is some suspense, then there is some love, and there is relationships between mother and daughter and brother and sister, then they are showing an extreme emotional states, and that gives some sort of emotional state in the mind, and that is what is the pleasure they experience. And then they feel very happy because that person gave me the experience, so they become fan of that person, or he became so angry, and now this person was so attractive, I could develop some emotions. In general in life sometimes it goes very dry for people. There are no emotions, so when they sit in front of TV they experience that emotion, and they keep their buddhi aside, and then they want to be in emotional state, which is no what is considered pleasure. And then because that person, the people are giving them emotions, that's why they become fan of them. They become fan of the sports people because they give that excitement for them. They're so much excited, and then they win. And then when they win, there is certain emotion that is generated. You're understanding? So I want to experience that emotion. That's why there are so many fans for them. They give them that pleasure. Now, when we start experiencing in Bhagavatam, in the past tense, now here the action is happening between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha. So that this is what emotion we experience, then we don't feel any pleasure in that experience. We'll not, even if somebody shows also, he says, no, no, this is real. This is real experience. You're understanding. Even Puranas also is better than movies because at least Puranas also, they're real incidents, so real experience. And more is a spiritual experience. So here what we get is spiritual experience, and that is actually what is needed. We want to, the people want experiences. Instead of taking material, we try to take, we should get involved into the pastime. We should start feeling what Hiranyaksha is feeling and what Varahadev is feeling and other demigods are feeling. So we should, here Maitreya is explaining, Vidura is experiencing, we should also start experiencing. And what happens, the advantage in this spiritual experience is same pastime we can hear again and again and again and experience that highest degree of pleasure. Whereas material thing, if you start seeing the same movie 1, 2, 3 times, 10 times in a day, after that we get bored. It is pale. It is not possible. This is chapala sukh. And here, but whereas spiritual, that's why Dhruv Maharaj pastime, Prahlad Maharaj pastime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hearing with Gadadhar Pandit hundreds of times. I say, Hare is not getting bored, not possible. Like Ramayana, how many times people have heard? Again, if there is Ram Katha, still there will be people. Why? Because there is so much depth in it. We discussed this also at the time of Ramayana. How much they followed Dharma, to that degree it becomes so intense, and that's why there is so pleasure. Even though it's a tragic story, whole Ramayana is a tragedy, still people want to hear it. Why? Because it has such depth. The experience which the personalities in Ramayana got, The same experience, because of their depth, we are also. Here also, the Bhagavatam is having such amount of love, such amount of experiences. We have to only tap. Then by our sadhana, by our sincerity, then Krishna gives that. Then some material things, no way. Even if we try to enjoy, we don't experience any pleasure later on. And it's a very risky thing. You want to experience something material, don't taste Bhagavatam. So here, uh, Hiranyaksha is challenging the Lord. He's calling him beast. So he can, it's actually something very special happening. And Prabhupada says they cannot understand the incarnations of Lord. They misunderstand. They deride. And they think it's something material. So this is all atheism, right? And the next shloka says, हैनमे अन्य मही विमुञ्चनो रसोकसां विश्वसृजेम अर्पिता न सृष्टियाशस्य अनया नमो नमेक्षत सुरागमासादितसूकराकृते. The demon addressed the Lord, O best of the demigods, dressed in the form of a boar. Just hear me. This earth is interested to us, the inhabitants of the lower regions, and you cannot take it from my presence and not be hurt by me. Is challenging. So it's not just physical, even verbal challenge also is giving such a pleasure. Somebody is challenging, that increases their spirit. Prabhupada writes, says the Swami, commenting on this verse, stated that although the demons wanted to deride the personality of God in the form of a boar, actually worshipped him in several words. For example, he addressed him as Vana Gocharaha, which means one who is resident of the forest. But another meaning of Vana Gochara is one who lies on the water. Vishnu lies on the water. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be properly addressed in this way. The demon addressed him as Mrigaha, indicating unintentionally that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sought after by the great sages, saintly persons, and transcendentalists. He also addressed him as Agnya. Siddha Swami says that Jna means knowledge, and there is no knowledge which is unknown to the Supreme Personality. Agnya means he knows everything. Indirectly, therefore, the demon said Vishnu knows everything. The demon addressed him Sura Dharma. Sura means the demigods, and Adharma means Lord of all there is. Adama, sorry. Adama means Lord of all there is. Suradharma. He is the Lord of all demigods. Therefore, he is the best of the demigods or God. When the demon used the phrase in my presence, the implied meaning was in spite of my presence. You are completely able to take away the earth. Na swishti yasasi. Unless you kindly take this earth from my custody, there can be no good fortune for us. So this is the implied meaning. So one important thing is, we discussed previously also, Bhagavatam is a poetry. And poetry means there is no direct meaning. I'm saying something, but I'm meaning something. Say now I'm saying, oh, this boy was sitting in the moonlit night in the summer evening, but the light is, the rays that are coming from the moon are burning his hand. The wind that is blowing is actually piercing his ears, and the smell of the flower is so bitter, jasmine. Now, it's so fragrant and so soothing. The wind is blowing, it should be very cool. But why it is happening to him? Because he's feeling separation from his girlfriend or whatever. So now you want to tell that he's feeling separation and he's feeling very painful. But you don't tell in one line he's feeling painful. You say moon is like this, Jasmine flower smell is like this, wind is like this. So it's actually indirectly told because it's a poetry. Some writes a poem, he writes like this, he does not tell directly. So similarly, Bhagavatam is a poetry. So you have Vyanganavritti, you have Gaunavritti, you have Lakshanavritti. It's all Vyanganavritti. It's all indirectly. It's implied meaning. It does not say directly. If directly says, then it does not. It's not. It's very dry. And here, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining Bhagavatam in a poem form, in a poetry. That's why we don't find the name of Srimati Radharani. Even though whole Bhagavatam is praising, is glorifying Srimati Radharani, we don't find her name. Because you should not tell the name, but you tell everything about it and you should understand. Yes, he is indicating Srimati Radharani. So every shloka is glorification of Srimati Radharani of Bhagavatam, even though her name is not there. The example is like Mehendi, it's all green. But when we know in Mehendi there is red. You apply and remove, it's all red. But when you put it, it looks like green. So Bhagavatam looks something but says something. Here also, the shloka also the same thing. It's Hiranyaksha is saying something, but he means something. Of course, him is his Jaya Vijaya devotee only. But here he's acting as a demon. But Acharyas, when he speak, they'll say, okay, okay. Now he has some other meaning also behind it. Says the first shloka says that Tamna saptanair abhavaya kim brito yo mayaya hanti asuran parokshachit tvam yogamaya balimalpa paurusham samstapya muda pramaje suhuchacha. You rascal, you have been nourished by our enemies to kill us, and you have killed some demons by remaining invisible. O fool, your power is only mystic. So today I shall enliven my kingsmen by killing you. Now Hiranyaksha is really using all bad words. And this is, but Acharyas give the another meaning for it. The demon used the word uh, abhavaya, which means for killing. Sridhar Swami commenting that the killing means liberating, or in other words, killing process of continued birth and death. Okay, Shyamukund Prasiman devotee says that whenever you see the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam in black ink, you should remember Krishna and white page is Radharani. So while Bhagavatam is glorifying Radharani and Krishna, so the page is Radharani and the ink is Krishna. So in that way it is glorifying. Yes. And killing means he is liberating. The activities of the Lord's internal potency are inconceivable, but by a slight exhibition of this potency, the Lord, by His grace, can deliver one from the nuisance. Suchaha means miseries. The miseries of mental existence can be extinguished by the Lord by His potential energy of internal Yogamaya. In Upanishad, Svetasva Upanishad, it is stated, Parasha Shaktir Vividhaiva Shvet. The Lord is invisible to the eyes of the common man, but his energies act in various ways. When the demon was in adversity, they think that God is hiding himself and is working by his mystic potency. They think that if they can find God, they can kill him just by seeing him. Hiranyaksha thought that way and he challenged the Lord. He had, you have done tremendous harm to our community, taking the part of the demigods, and you have killed our kingsmen in so many ways, always keeping yourself hidden. So I see you face to face. I am not going to let you go. I shall kill you and save my kingsmen from your mystic misdeeds. This is very typical demonic mentality. Scientists are also trying to kill the Lord by telling he's not there. That's how they are killing. Not only are the demons always anxious to kill the God with words and philosophy, but they think that if one is materially powerful, he can kill the God with material fatal weapons. Demons like Kamsa, Ravana, and Hiranyakashipu thought themselves powerful enough to kill even God. Demon cannot understand that God, by his multifarious potencies, can work so wonderfully that he can be present everywhere and still remain in his eternal abode, Golok Vrindavan. Actually, the important thing is we are reading about this Bhagavatam because Prabhupada spent sleepless nights writing the purport. He gives such importance to Bhagavatam, and we all started taking Bhagavatam and trying to read it and doing all these things. It is all glories to Srila Prabhupada. If Prabhupada took it so seriously, Prabhupada gave sleepless nights in doing all this translation. It's actually such a great compassion, Prabhupada. He just wrote all these things. Whatever we are reading, he must have dictated in the middle of night at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and he's giving such valuable knowledge for us. And then now because he gave, we are also understanding, oh, Bhagavatam is important. We should at least try to understand what Prabhupada is telling, and it really helps us in changing our heart. We should feel experience that connection with Prabhupada, the emotions which they are there in Bhagavad. By feeling deep connection with Prabhupada, what happens is we can experience the Bhagavatam also very nicely. We have to appreciate what Prabhupada did for us in writing all these things. And that gratitude will give us humility, and that humility will give us devotion. So they are all connected. So here, Prabhupada is telling, oh, this challenging spirit is there, they want to kill. And Hiranyaksha is really, when we see, we have to see that emotional part also. What Hiranyaksha is really feeling. This is a demonic mentality. How much we can see this demonic mentality in this world and in ourselves also. There is some demonic mentality. We don't want to destroy the Lord, but we don't want Him. That is how we are. We don't want Him to destroy, but we don't want Him all the time. That's why we have curtain in the altar, just close, so that we can do our things without Him. Some houses they always keep the curtain open because their deity room is separate and their prasadam is separate, so it is open. But some people it is common, so they have to keep it closed. But otherwise, open is always good. All the time, altar should be open whole day. Afternoon you will close, and night we close when we make the deities rest. Otherwise, whole day they should be open because they should be watching what we are doing. If you want to see TV, then we have to close the curtain. Otherwise, we can just keep it on all the time. It's good. So the mentality is that we don't want it all the time because if he's there, we cannot enjoy. Demons, they're one step ahead. They want to kill only. They said, "You don't exist. We will enjoy this world. We'll take care of it." So this is the mentality. And he says, the demon continued, "You fall dead with your skull smashed by the mace hurled by my arms. The demigods and sages who offer you oblations and sacrifice in devotional service will automatically cease to exist, like trees without roots. They just want to destroy the system itself. They feel that things should not go the way that is. They want it in a very perverted way. And they experience some pleasure in that perversion. Like people go, they take drugs. It's actually perverted way of enjoying it. They want to defile and enjoy. Like gambling. This is all I don't know that dopamine effect for the demons, but for the present demons, it's like that. If you get easy money, it makes them so much excited. You give torture to others and kill animals and eat non-veg. It's such a excitement, and people are indulging in illicit activities. It's such a pleasure, but doing in a wrong way, they feel so much pleasure. This is actually the demonic mentality. They all have. So here he wanted to destroy the Lord. This is the uh, mentality. And Prabhupada has nice big purport to explain. Demons are very much disturbed when devotees worship the Lord in the prescribed ways recommended in the scriptures. The Vedic scriptures, in the Vedic scripture, the neophyte devotees are advised to engage in 9 kinds of devotional service, such as to hear and chant the holy name of God, to remember Him always, to chant on the beats, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, to worship the Lord in the form of His deity incarnation in the temple, and to engage in various activities of Krishna consciousness to increase the number of godly persons for perfect peace in the world. Demons do not like such activity. They are always enemies of God and His devotees. Their propaganda not not to worship in the temple or church, but simply to make material advancement for satisfaction of senses is always correct. This is actually a problem. So very important thing is people they want to increase their lifespan, but they don't want the supreme Lord. Sorry. They want to increase their lifespan, not want supreme Lord. But they are not understanding what is the value of having uh, such a lifespan if you are not devoted to the Supreme Lord. There's no use of such life. It's just we are transmigrating from just one species to another species and we are stuck. Even if somebody is doing some pious activities, doing some charity, giving some, helping some poor and all these things, even that is also not much use. At the best, they will go to heaven, enjoy, and once the amount is over, then they come back. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravatana. They have to come back. So, what is the value of such a life where there is no devotion? No, that's what Bhagavatam in the second chapter, second canto, we already read. No, Taravah kim na jivanti prishtas kim na swasanti uta na kadanti na mehanti kim gavo pasho pare. Are they not producing children, releasing semen and living and eating? Trees are not the living or the bellows of the what do you say? Blacksmith are not breathing. So what is the value? Like no people say, oh, my life got the operation. After the operation, they say, oh, now he can live for 20 more years. What is the value of the 20 more years if you are not devotee? Better is one moment of high consciousness. That's what Sukadeva Goswami tells to Parikshit Maharaj. Better to have one moment of high consciousness than to have a very long span of not being a devotee. Now, here, one important thing is we have to do these activities only chanting here, reading, and date incarnations in the temple. We should worship the Lord. And they live in such a materialistic way. They are making 3, 4 houses for themselves, but they don't want to make one temple for Krishna. Arey, why you need 4 houses? You cannot carry even one house with you when you die. Better make one temple, and that will save you from going for next birth and again making another houses. We might have made millions and billions of houses in all these lifetimes, but what is the value? But if you make one temple for Krishna, then we need not come back again to make some house here. Such an anxiety to make a house, purchase a house. We will get permanent place in the spiritual world. So better make some temple, utilize some land is there, make a temple. Or if you don't want to make a temple, say it's true, then make your house as a temple. Bring the deities, make your house as a temple. Start taking care of serving with all standards. Either make a temple or make your house a temple. Better is make a temple. It will help others also. But if not, that is actually what is needed. We need that, otherwise, it's life wasted. 100% guarantee you will take the person will take again birth and continue to suffer here. But if you have made our house as a temple or made properly, so why make so many houses? One house is sufficient, 2 houses. No, no, for my children, my grandchildren also. Why you let them deal their life? You made your life, take some responsibility, give some basic things, Forget about it. They will enjoy their karma. Even if you give, don't give, if their karma is not there, nothing is going to happen. The person is not responsible. His responsibility is only some extent. After that, everybody works their hard and they will make their money. My grandparents have to give so much to the grandchildren. It's all great illusion. They have to give spiritual knowledge. That is the wealth they have to give. It's not just material wealth. Material wealth to some little you give. But more important is they think I have to give so much to my grandchildren. I have to give so much to. I have to give spiritual knowledge. Why you are wasting their life, wasting your life? We should give the real wealth is spiritual knowledge. You have to save them. That's what Rishabdev is going to tell in the fifth canto, which will come. He says that Pita na sasya, pati na sasya, janani na sasya, daivam na sasya. You are taking responsibility, then you are not fulfilling. If you are namochite, that's sampaitamitham. If you are not delivering from the cycle of birth and death, the people who are dependent on you, you cannot be a father, you cannot be a mother, you cannot be a demigod, you cannot be a guru. That means that responsibility they are not doing. They think I have to give wealth to my dependents. Give real wealth, which is going to save them from the cycle of birth and death. Instead of making 10 houses, 5 houses, just make one temple. Or at least make your house as a temple and spend money in serving the deities. That's what our money is meant for. We have to earn to serve the deities and regularly call Vaishnavas and feed them prasadam. If this much we do, this life is perfected. We have done our best 100%. Otherwise, it's a disaster. And yeah, that is also there. If it is not there in our destiny, it will be destroyed. Even if one endeavors very hard and leaves behind so much wealth for their descendants, it's not going to last. And it is, many people have many examples. Still, they feel, no, 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 we will, we have to do, we cannot do anything. It's not there in karma. Even they have some materially very opulent, they don't have spiritual knowledge. What they will do? They are like Hiranyaksha only. They are like demons. They try to enjoy in a perverted way and destroy themselves and others. Like many rich people, their children, so many children, they are already spoiled because they have money. That's why they are spoiled. Of course, very pious people, their children are good, but many of them, it's a disaster only. And if you don't give spiritual knowledge, you make a house, make it into a temple. If you cannot make a temple, first is we have to, whatever land extra, make a temple. Of course, for that you need devotees, but at least okay, if you are not, then make house as a temple. Serve the deities, serve the Vaishnavas. Then the dependents who are the children, grandchildren, they should see that only. That money is there means for serving the Vaishnavas, serving the deities. They will also earn money for serving Vaishnavas, serving deities. Otherwise, they will earn money to do sense gratification. They will be destroying themselves. It's all disaster. We may say, I made so much property. I gave 2 houses, my daughter, 1 house, my son, and my grandson also I made house. You only and but what about spiritual knowledge? Did you give anything? Spiritual heritage? That is a disaster. Finish. Nothing is going to. We have to ourselves do it, and that's the only thing, that's the only wealth we can give. And here also, to worship the Lord in the form of deity incarnation temple and to engage in various activities of Krishna consciousness to increase this is actually what Vedic scriptures are recommending. And any other activity, we have to be focused. This is called Ekeha Kurunandana, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Only thing I should do is practice Krishna consciousness, give this Krishna consciousness to the people who are dependent on me, who are connected to me. That's all. Rest everything, Shremayave Kevalam, Mandanam Lokaranjanam, Apranasya hi Dehasya, Mandanam Lokaranjanam. It's a decoration of a dead body. It's no value only. And that much focus is not there, then what is there? Every day we are reminded of it. That's why we have to every day hear this Bhagavatam. So demons do not like such activity. Prabhupada is telling. So, and to engage in various Krishna consciousness to increase the number of demons do not like activity. So the demonic mentality in us is not allowing us to do it. Why we need otherwise money if it is not for spending for devotees and deities? What is there in accumulating? Which if based on the karma only enjoyment is there, not just accumulating. Even a person accumulates, if he's not there in his karma to enjoy, he will not enjoy. So they are always enemies of God and his devotees. Their propaganda not to worship in the temple or church, but simply to make material advancement for satisfaction of senses is always correct. So this is, we may not go against it, but we are not doing it. We should make the sense satisfying the senses. The demon Hiranyaksha, upon seeing the Lord face to face, wanted to make a permanent solution of killing the personality of Godhead with his powerful mace. The example of an uprooted tree mentioned here by the demon is very significant. Devotees accept that God is the root of everything. Their example is that just as the stomach is the source of energy of all the limbs of the body, God is the original source of all energy manifested in the material and spiritual worlds. Therefore, as supplying food to the stomach is the process of satisfying is to satisfy all the limbs of body. Krishna consciousness or developing love for Krishna is the sublime method for satisfying the soul of all happiness. This is actually very important. Like we can guarantee material pleasure, we can guarantee uh, relief from suffering by all these endeavors which we are making, but we cannot guarantee satisfaction of the heart. That is not possible with any of these material activities. They may say, "Oh, I am getting relieved from my suffering because I was not having money. I had to struggle so much. I work very hard. Now I have sufficient money. I need not bother about anything. Just when if I just and my I can just order everything in my Swiggy and Zomato. Everything comes. Amazon is there, and Amazon Prime is also there to watch movies. So I'm getting everything. I'm comfortable. So you are relieved to some extent from suffering, and then there are some material comforts which are giving pleasure. Both are there. What is not there is satisfaction of heart. Unless, so that's why it is telling. Therefore, supplying food to the stomach is the process to satisfy all the limbs of God. By satisfying Krishna, our heart will be satisfied. Otherwise, people remain unhappy like this. Why there is so much war and destruction and all these protests and demonstrations that are happening across the world and everywhere? Whole news is filled with negativity, because people are unhappy. If people are unhappy, na, they start blaming everything. They say this is because of the government, this is because of my the system, this is because of other country, this is because of my mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, children, husband, wife. So many reasons, boss, and so many people we start blaming because of them things, because their heart is not happy. So they're unhappy, they start blaming. The demon wanted to uproot that this source because if the root God were to be checked, the activities of the Lord and the devotees would automatically stop. The demons would be very much satisfied by such a situation in society. Demons are always anxious to have a godless society for their sense gratification. According to Sridhar Swami, this verse means that when the demons would be deprived of his mace by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only the neophyte devotees but also the ancient sagacious devotees of Lord will all would be very much satisfied. He says, although the Lord was pained by shaft like abusive words of the demon. So this verse interesting, you say, how Lord will be pained. So this says that Sa Turyamano Ridukam Tomarair Damshtragragam Ga Upalakshabhita Todam Rishanirgadha Ambumadhya Gahata Sa Karaneru Yatebhya. This verse says that although the Lord was pained by the shaft like abusive words of the demon, he bore the pain. Lord also has emotions. He's a person. That's why he is affected by it. But seeing that the earth on the end of his tusk was frightened, he rose out of the water just as an elephant emerged from its female companions when assaulted by an alligator. We will see what Prabhupada writes here. The Mayavada philosopher, so Mayavad is again Prabhupada is smashing them, cannot understand that the Lord has feelings. The Lord is satisfied if someone offers him a prayer, nice prayer. And similarly, if someone decries his existence or calls him ill names, God is dissatisfied. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is derived by the Mayavada philosophers, who are almost demons. They say that God has no head, no form, no existence, no legs, no hands, and other bodily limbs. In other words, they say that he is dead or lame. All these misconceptions of the Supreme Lord are a source of dissatisfaction to him. He is never pleased with such atheistic descriptions. In this case, although the Lord felt sorrow from the piercing words of the demons, he delivered the earth for the satisfaction of the demigods who are ever his devotees. The conclusion is that God is a saint. God is as sentient as we are, is satisfied by our prayers and dissatisfied by our harsh words against him. In order to give protection to his devotees, he is always ready to tolerate insulting words from the atheist. It's very nice purport. Prabhupada is telling how Lord has very fine emotions. If you praise, he is happy. If you deride, he is unhappy. But in normal case, what happens in an neophyte devotees, they don't do both properly. Means at least they don't insult. What they do is they neglect. When we neglect, when chanting only we neglect. And other times also it continues. That's an offense we do. We neglect the Lord. We don't offend him. We don't say he's not there. But we don't care whether he is there or not. We call the holy name, but we don't care for the holy name. We have deities, but we don't care. We do whatever we want. That's why that is actually insult. If you call somebody at home and don't take care of him, it's an insult. You are just he came and he came and sat in the hall in the, and then you go to your bedroom and you are watching your TV. That person thinks, "Arey, why did he call me first of all?" And he should at least acknowledge and do something. But we say no. I will do my things in my room. I will I'll eat in my bedroom and I'll see my TV. You want to stick. So this is actually what happens. A Lord feels very hurt. And that's an offense. And that is the mother of all offense. Inattention is the cause of all offenses. Anything inattentive to devotee is also an offense. And what to speak of Supreme. So here he is, that is the Mayavada tendency we all have as a person, not treating him as a person. And this tendency is so strong now, they don't treat even people also like people. There is another problem. The people will be around, but they cannot relate. Even I also have that very great tendency to means it's not I don't disrespect, but don't relate to them properly. That is a mistake. We should not do. We should relate to them. We should not be impersonal. We should see what they want, and especially when we are staying in the devotee association, we are able to appreciate that, and the spiritual world will be able to appreciate what Lord is giving. So here the conclusion is that God is as sentient as we are. More we come to this understanding, more we are fortunate, more we relate. And that's the advantage of people who are staying in Dham. They very much accept him as a person who is there. They may not, some of them may not be doing some sadhanas and other things, but they are born in Dham. They treat him as a person only. That is the advantage of taking birth in Dham. For them, he is a person all the time, and they connect to him. And sometime when Vrajavasi, he was having a shop, and devotee went there, and he saw there is Ganesh photo and Lakshmi and other demigods, and this some Mataji was there in the shop, and she was offering arati to all these demigod photos. And our ISKCON devotee, he went there, and he saw and he said, "What is this? You are a Vrajavasi and worshipping demigods. How can you worship? You should worship Krishna." And that Vrajavasi Mata, she started crying. She said, "How can I worship Krishna? He is our family member." How do we never worship our family members? This devotee didn't understand only. He thought, whom am I preaching? He's a Vrajavasi. So for them, they treat in Vrindavan him as a person. So their mood is different. That's why Sanatana Goswami, sorry, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, uh, Pundri- yeah, Pundrik Vidyanidhi, not Pundrik Vidyanidhi. He says to, uh, yeah, when devotee says, when you go to Vrindavana, don't closely associate with Vrajavasis. You better be with Sanatana Goswami. So the point is what? Uh, that they treat him as a person. That is an advantage in Vrindavan. When we go, we have to we have to see them from a distance. We see, my God, how fortunate they are. He's a person all the time. Is a person with them. And Lord is satisfied by our praise and dissatisfied by our harsh words against him. So somebody, even sentimentally, they are there, that they are treating, oh my Lord. Even that is also a little fortunate only. At least they are taking him as a person. My Lord is there, my deities are there. So that attachment also protects them. Even though they may not philosophically very sound, some of the devotees, but personal treatment is what Lord appreciates. They may think, "Arey, this person don't know all the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. They don't know much about the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. They misquote and miss." But if they're treating Lord as a person, that makes a difference. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw the South Indian Brahmana, he was not able to pronounce properly or read properly Bhagavad Gita. But he treated Lord as a person. That's why Lord appreciated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. All these people, they are learned, but they don't, because they are not able to treat in that personal way, which is what Lord wants." He understood, oh, person. Lord is a person. Even if there will be some sentimental devotees who are treating him as a person, they are fortunate in one way because they are treating him. And in order to give protection to a devotee, is always ready to tolerate insulting words from the atheist. The demon who had. Okay, we'll end here. Any questions, comments? Okay. Thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.